One. Hey everybody, Joe Novara here, speaker, coach, and author. I am so excited to bring something different to you today. You know, you've all seen me do a lot of these videos before, usually with somebody who's either in social media, another marketing person, somebody around branding. But today, I wanted to do something different. I want to introduce you all to my very, very good friend, Stephen Ray Miller. He's an artist and a picture framer. Now, what we're going to be talking about primarily today is about the artwork, okay? Stephen started his career back in 1971 when I was 3, okay? Yes, I was 3 years old, and Stephen was just starting his career. But we've become very good friends over these past 11 or 12 years. I'm going to say 12 years now we've been good friends. And the reason why I wanted Stephen to do this little interview with Stephen was for this primary reason. His mindset always had to be right to get to the point he's at today. You know, so many people, they get into small business, and what happens? After they, you know, maybe 1 year, if they make it to 5 years, God forbid they make it to 10 years, if they aren't seeing the level of success that they predicted for themselves or hoped, they quit. Here we are now, we're talking 50 years later, and Stephen is still at it. But the point is that it took him a long time to see the level of success that he was hoping for. And now in these past several years, he has started to see that success. Now that's why I thought when we were having a conversation recently on the telephone, it just like it hit me that he never quit. That doesn't mean that he didn't never feel like giving up, but he never quit. And here we are 50 years later, and he's still at it, and he's making a darn good living at it too. So that's why I wanted to, let's talk to Stephen. We're going to learn a little bit about Stephen. So thank you for doing this, Stephen.
Thanks for being here, John.
I'm so appreciative of it. So Stephen, I know you were in college, and what university did you go to?
Duke University down the road, where
I
thought I would be a...
Don't hold it against him for anybody who are...
There's also light blue, Carolina blue on the Rainbow Ram,
okay,
so
good,
I use light blue and dark blue. That's another interview.
Yeah. And so now you're at Duke for psychology.
Correct.
And in the middle of, you know, out of nowhere, you just decide, this isn't working for me. Tell us about that story.
Well, I was studying psychology and sociology. Wasn't going anywhere. That also is another story. And kind of on a lark, I took an art course in my junior year, and that was it. That's what I wanted to do. And I stayed in school and finished with a psychology degree and a studio art degree. The funny thing is the psychology degree from Duke has a little bit of clout, but studio art, people go, Duke, there was an art department?
Yeah.
And it was a very small art department, which actually was fine. I was motivated, and I had some great instructors and access to the studios. And that's what I did. And then graduated in 1973 with a degree in psychology and studio art. Then in 1974, I started working for the South Carolina Arts Commission. Moved to South Carolina over the next 3 years, about 10,000 kids.
So let me back up for a second. So you're in school, you're going to school to be a psychologist at some point possibly, and which you would almost guarantee will make oodles of money,
perhaps.
And at some point you say, let me go into something where I probably won't make a lot of money, and you consciously make that decision.
I did.
So did something get triggered in your heart where that just said, I love this?
My first visit to Ocracoke, 1971.
Tell it real quickly, just if you could say the 30-second version of it.
30-second version, a bunch of us went there in my friend's Volkswagen camper bus. I got struck with VW bus fever. I had one a few months later, which I had for 28 years and drove 400,000 miles. So that's part of the story as well. But I actually thought I might be a photographer first, a nature photographer. But then I decided to pursue painting.
Okay.
And, you know, right from the start, it takes a certain amount of chutzpah to decide you want to be an artist, because there's been a lot of artists for a long time doing lots of paintings.
A lot of starving artists.
A lot of starving artists, yeah. And but that's what I wanted to do, and you know, fortunately, I had some interpersonal skills, and I had a sales background. My dad was a great salesman.
Right.
And I decided, I think part of what sets me apart is I decided that I was not only going to paint the paintings, but I was going to sell the paintings. And I still do.
Right.
If you're out there and you can sell my paintings better than me, call me. We can make something happen. But
yeah,
that's
you're happy to just paint if you could just.
Oh, I'd love to have more time to paint. Sure,
yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, the frame shop takes up a fair amount of my time, but that's
right.
also
and we'll talk about that. Yeah. So we're talking. So we're in the 70s. You start working at the South Carolina Arts Commission.
Correct.
Teaching 10,000 students
over a couple of years.
Over
yeah. all ages. All ages.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you retire from that. We'll say that was your first retirement.
Right,
and maybe your last retirement. And I like what you say. It was your last a predictable paycheck.
1979.
1979. Yeah. So here we are now. We're 40 plus years later.
Yep.
Okay. And he is yet to have a predictable paycheck, but the pay is very predictable now.
Social Security is coming in 2 years.
But besides Social Security, your pay has been very predictable over these past several years. You know you've got money coming in, and we're going to find out why, though.
Well, actually, Joe, it's not quite as simple as that. But I also live a fairly frugal life, and I get to work at home, so I don't have the expense of a retail storefront, which has also been key.
And we're going to come back to why I'm going to show him that he's wrong in a couple of minutes.
Oh boy!
But we'll get back to that. Okay. And they would say, don't try to prove the person you're interviewing wrong, but we're going to do that. Okay. I'm not Bill O'Reilly, though. Okay. So now we're going to go into the 80s.
Okay.
Okay. So you're painting full time.
Correct.
Have you started the picture framing yet?
No, the picture framing didn't start till around 2000.
Okay.
In Durham. Yeah.
Okay. So then, all right. So we're going into the 80s, and it's a period of all flash. It's a period of, where there's, we have the Patrick Nagels of the time. And now, Duran, everything looks super flashy. And that is not generally who you are. So how did you, make yourself relevant during that period when so much, and here you are, you're still early in your career, and you're having to kind of prove yourself against this whole flash and excess society?
Well, in 1987, I moved from South Carolina to Los Angeles.
Okay.
And that was a big shift. And I was hoping to, hit it big in the big city. I did all right. I never was as successful in LA as I had hoped for. Although during that period of time, I did a lot of really good paintings, many of which are still, making me money as prints and everything. And I just, I did kind of keep at it. And there have been some very challenging times, but I think that happens to everybody.
Yeah. What would you say over your career, because I want to do a fast forward to where we're at today. What would you say during your career was the period when you painted the most? The most pieces in a certain period of time?
Probably that time in LA, because I was single, and I had a lot of time and a lot of things I wanted to paint, and that's also when I started reproducing my paintings.
Okay.
So that was extremely helpful. This is perhaps my most popular picture ever, painted in 1990, called Still Waters.
Yeah, and I love that picture.
They all sold as well as this. Hey.
Yeah. So now, so marketing. Let's talk about marketing, because you don't think of a painter as somebody who's going to be a great marketer. We think of a painter as the madman that's in a studio somewhere, praying that he can sell a piece so that he can eat tomorrow. And instead, what we had somebody who was also, besides painting, was also out there marketing for himself. So what were some of the techniques that you used to market your business during that time?
Well, in 1976, I started making postcards of my work and sending those out. And then I started having some Tupperware parties at friends' house. They'd have an informal gathering. I'd show a bunch of work, and some people would buy some things. And then I did it, largely through the mail. And as we've talked about, it was very different back then. No internet. Photography was different. Slides.
Right.
You got to wait and see if they worked. Now digitally, click away.
You sat there with the slide, the thing.
Well, and you didn't know if you got the right photo, and it was expensive, and all sorts of factors. And also the other huge thing is now in the digital world, once you have one good high-resolution digital image, you've got it. And you can send it around the world, and it won't change a bit.
Right.
That's exciting. That's huge.
So let's fast forward then, okay? So I want to fast forward to 2000.
Okay.
So you introduce into your business the picture framing.
Yes.
So 1971 to 2000, well, let's say 79 to 2000 were kind of lean years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little bit leaner too.
Yeah, well, you're still pretty lean, but those were lean years. Did the best you could. Did you ever feel like quitting during that time?
There were a few times in my life where I kind of said, you know, what am I going to do? And yet it always came back to, well, I think this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is what I do best. And
did you feel a passion about it?
Oh, yeah. 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 Well, you know, I have one advantage. I'm a salesman who made the product.
Right.
So I can answer any question about it, you know, and I think that's helpful. Also, I can show what I do in 2 seconds.
Right.
And those are all very, very helpful.
Yeah, if you had to, you could chase somebody around their office saying, no, look at me, right?
Yeah, I've done close to that, actually. Another story for another time.
Yeah. So now here we are, we're in 2000, you introduced the picture framing part. Right. What brought that on?
Well, that was when I started networking.
Okay.
And I was in a terrific networking group as an artist, and somebody literally said, oh, I have a picture, could you frame it for me? And I'd always framed my own work, and all of a sudden it was like, yeah, I can do that. And so that was a huge turning point, because, you know, this many people want to buy my artwork. This many people have something to frame. Almost everybody has something under their bed, in the closet, you know, that they haven't gotten around to framing. So it was a much wider net. And thank goodness for that, because over the last 20 years, picture framing has been a very significant portion of my income.
You've framed things for me?
Yes, I have.
And you're about to frame 2 more things for me.
Lucky
so
me.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so the picture framing comes in. Did you find that took away from the opportunities to paint, though?
Time-wise, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, you know, by then, I was married, I was a father, so, you know, my whole composition of my life and daily stuff was a lot different. Fortunately, I've always worked at home. So in a sense, I've been able to maximize my time without having to get dressed and commute and all that kind of stuff. And also financially, not having the burden of office rent has been key to be able to hang in during the winter.
We're in his studio right now, and you don't see the whole studio, but there's so many Stephen Ray Miller paintings here. And we're going to show you some of those in a little while. I'm going to have Stephen do it chronologically. But so, Stephen, we get to the, let's say, the recession area, which is about when you and I met. I had just moved to North Carolina in 2007, bought a business, and you and I met at a networking event and became fast friends.
Agreed.
I started doing some work for you at that time. And so I saw you when we first met. I said to myself, this guy is a marketing machine. I mean, I really did. You were, well, first of all, you reminded me of a taller version of Woody Allen, which is a compliment in and of itself. But so I love that about you. And then on top of it, although I would say somebody with a little more integrity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going there.
Yeah. But all that being said, and I loved your artwork. And so here we are. You made it through the recession, and so now all of a sudden you made the shift into the digital world. Yeah. So tell me about that. Like what brought that on, and then what has made, because now is where I see his business. And this is why I know he has, because of his website alone, he has guaranteed income. He has guaranteed income because of the website And what he's done, which most business owners don't do, and we're going to talk more about that, is he created multiple products. Instead of the one product, he has turned his product into multiple products. Very similar to when they say repurpose your content. That is exactly what he's done. He's repurposed all of his artwork. So how did that start to happen? Tell us, when you start to slip into that area.
I got my first digital camera in 2006, and it's a monumental change. I'm fortunate in that, on the one hand, I'm a dinosaur. I'm painting by hand. I put a brush in watercolor and I do this. That in itself makes me dinosauric, and yet being able to take advantage of the digital side of things. Once I finish that painting, I can digitally capture it and use it in so many different forms, whether it's a face mask, or a jigsaw puzzle, or a bumper sticker. So that's been huge for me and extremely helpful.
So why don't you show us some of the pieces some of the things you've done?
Sure.
As a result of this, that you've been able to do.
Sure. Okay, well, speaking of the digital, we'll go to the most recent first. I've been making jigsaw puzzles. That's Silver Lake Jigsaw. And
that is just wonderful.
For the aficionados who want a 500 or 1,000 piece puzzle, this is more like an appetizer. But what's happened is it's become a great gift from grandparents, which is great for me. And I've got a few more in the works, which I'll show you.
So how many jigsaw puzzles at this point, and I don't mean how many, how
many different images?
How many different images?
I did this one first, and there are 2 more that are going to arrive tomorrow.
Wow.
And then there are 2 more that I'll show you that are going to be in the works.
Oh, that's great.
I'm trying to have hopefully about a dozen or so by Christmas.
Okay.
It's a great gift.
So you're giving Thomas Kincaid a run for his money in his puzzle making. So what else? So
Joe, that was a gut punch.
I'm needling him there.
Yeah, you sure did. And I made bumper stickers and magnets.
Okay, so the bumper stickers.
Yeah.
Tell me, without getting too political, what brought that idea on?
North Carolina bathroom bill.
Okay.
And I said, and I'm not really that political, but to me this is just very simple. That and the Supreme Court ruling that, you can marry whoever you want. Okay. And sexual discrimination is ridiculous.
So what does that bumper sticker say? For anybody who can't see
I'm sorry. It says y'all means everyone.
Y'all means everyone.
Here we go.
There it is. There's the big version of it. Okay.
And I also have it as a canvas print.
And so people can buy the
absolutely. I've sold a few thousand.
Poster. Okay, great. Yep. So now we've taken that, okay, and we have the coronavirus is going on. So what did you do to kind of, what was something you did to meet the need that's happening now?
Well, my sweetheart Lori said, why don't you make a mask of United Hearts of America? And I did.
That's great.
And these are selling really well. And it's, a very pleasant surprise.
While I've been here, I think he made a sale of how many? 50?
I had a big order from him.
He had an order today, while I've been here, which wasn't very long, of at least 50 masks.
Yeah, and a bunch of magnets. Yeah, that was good.
That's pretty darn cool.
Good.
And so the other thing I was super impressed with that you did was the T-shirts came along as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have T-shirts for all 50 states, with or without y'all means everyone.
All 50 states. So if you're seeing this in Florida, if you're seeing this in Oklahoma, you can actually go to Stephen's website, which will give you that. What's the website address real quick?
StephenRayMiller.com. Okay. Stephen with a V.
That's pretty easy.
And also,
website and get.
Fortunately, and this is another discussion, but y'all means everyone goes straight to me. Y'all means all goes to a bunch of people, but in the Google world, y'all means everyone goes right to me. But Stephen Ray Miller. Just remember that, and you'll find it.
So the point that I was making before is what he has done is and I know Stephen wasn't making a whole ton of money from his artwork 10 years ago. Even when we first met 12 years ago, he was doing okay. He was living more off of the picture framing. He's doing really well now off of all of the products he created. He repurposed his content. But the most important part that I want to get back to, which we talked about earlier, is that what Stephen did, he never, ever quit. Yes, he had bad days. Maybe he had bad months.
A couple of years.
Periods where he just said, why am I doing this? We all of us in small business or large business or sales professionals, we all go through those periods. But it's the fact that he hung in there. He stayed with it. He never actually quit. And Stephen and I are personal friends, and I know some of the darker periods in his life, as he knows about me. And he hung in there, though. And that's the part I want to keep going back to, is if you stick with it, sooner or later, if you're passionate about it, it will turn around. But you've got to really stick with it and know exactly what it is that you're going for and who your target market is. Knowing your target market will be the #1 thing that will help you after mindset.
Well, speaking of target market, I've been saying for a long time that I need to get to the next generation. And in the last few months, the jigsaw puzzles are going to grandchildren. The model for my mask is my great niece, who's not even 2 years old. And last week, I was interviewed by a 7-year-old, which is on YouTube. So I'm getting to the next generation.
John News.
John News.
I love it.
Check out John News. Great. I was volume 11.
So, Steve, why don't you go through real quickly? Let's do a quick chronological chronology here of your artwork.
Sure. This is Still Waters.
And if you could tell us real quickly what was going on during that period, approximately, a quick version. If you know, if you don't, that's okay.
I'll make it up. No.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is 1990. This is from Marblehead, Massachusetts. It's called Still Waters. This is one of the first times that I used 2 coats of opaque watercolor. That's why it's so precise, and that's part of what set me apart. I also have 2 little hearts. I put little hearts in my pictures.
Yeah.
And so that's Still Waters. Once lost a sale to a woman who said it would make her seasick. So I've been bragging about that ever since. That was the best turndown I've ever had.
Good.
So that's Still Waters. This is San Francisco Rooftops. This is one of the jigsaw puzzles that's arriving tomorrow. So imagine this is a jigsaw puzzle.
That's fantastic.
82 buildings, 671 windows, 3 hearts, and 1 human. Have fun. San Francisco. This is the Duke Gardens. This is the other jigsaw puzzle that's going to arrive tomorrow. And this is kind of the iconic shot from 2005. It's changed a little bit, but at that time, that's what it looked like. And there are 53 hearts in this one.
Now, just out of curiosity, what made you want to paint that?
The Washington Duke Inn commissioned me to do 4 paintings.
Okay.
And make limited edition prints from them. And if you check into the Washington Duke, look at your magnetic key card because it will be one of my paintings.
Wonderful. Wow, so that's great.
That's kind of a fun repurposing, as you will. This is from Superior, Wisconsin. And that used to be the train station, now it's the restaurant.
And what is the restaurant? Is that the restaurant there?
Well, Sioux Line is the name of the railroad. And I think it's, I forget the name of it, but there's a sign right here that we can't see, and that's where it is. But what attracted me most to this was the sign and the shadow. Yeah. I love that. I love trying to create a 3-dimensional effect with light and dark. And the older I've gotten, the bolder I've gotten with the colors. So, this is a pizza joint in Duluth, Minnesota.
What year did you paint that?
This was last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, last year. Hardest part about this is making a really crisp square with watercolor, because you have to be kind of precise. My favorite part of this painting is the stop sign that's obviously been nudged a little bit, and the bird on the wire that we can't see. That was a pleasant surprise.
That's really cool.
Sammy's Pizza. And this is from El Salvador, and I'm really happy with both the sand and the waves and beautiful clear day.
Who took that picture?
I did.
So, okay.
I was at my niece's wedding in El Salvador.
Beautiful.
And I think this one's going to be a jigsaw puzzle someday as well.
Yeah, I just absolutely love that. I want that hanging on my wall.
Well, we can arrange it. Then this is Walter's Hot Dogs across from my high school, Mamaroneck High School. I graduated from the high school that Norman Rockwell dropped out of, and our birthdays are one day apart.
Wow.
They just celebrated their 100th year. It's this little Chinese pagoda, and you walk up to the window, and they have unbelievably good hot dogs.
So I want to make it clear, your birthdays are one day apart, but how many years?
Oh, I don't know. I should know that, but I don't.
Yeah. I want to make it clear he's not that old. He's old, but he's not that old.
I'm 68, which is amazing. Anyway,
I'm picking on him.
And then this is my newest painting. This is a commission of a friend's son at the beach, and this is also going to be a jigsaw puzzle.
Wow, that is.
And it's called
beautiful.
Drew at the Beach. Thank you.
What is it called?
Drew at the Beach.
Drew.
His name is Drew, but it's also a bit of a pun on draw.
Yeah.
So, and this one's going to be a jigsaw puzzle, and I'm very, very happy. This time I used 3 coats of paint, so that's why it's really saturated and very precise.
I love it.
Thank you. And then
I love the, real quickly, I love how you have the band going through him as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's really, to me, that's really good, and it's perfect the way it did it. Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because this is the first time where I very specifically, if it was a light stripe coming through here, I made it a light stripe coming through everything. And same thing with the dark, and that's why it has a little more cohesion. And I was really glad how that worked out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
And this local Full-Steam Brewery in Durham.
Oh, cool.
I don't often do figures, but she came out pretty well. Sean Lilly Wilson, the head of Full Steam, his business card says CEO, Chief Executive Optimist, which I love.
That's great.
And then this is Carborough.
Oh, wow.
Downtown Carborough, and I made a print of that.
Right down to the graffiti. I love it.
Yeah, I put the graffiti in there. Some folks wish I hadn't, but it was there.
No, I love
it.
it.
I think it's a good element.
Why? I mean, it's perfect. It's reality there.
Yep.
So now, do you know who any of these people are?
I don't know the people, but that's This and That gift shop, and they sell my bumper stickers.
Okay.
Armadillo Grill.
Where's Weaver Street Realty? Is that here?
Weaver Street Realty is right here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And this is now, I think, a Country Parlor. It was empty at the time.
Okay. I don't get to Carborough as often as I would like, but I know Terry. She's a good friend. Terry Turn.
And then this is what's on the mask. That's a little bit better depiction of the colors. United Hearts of America.
That's wonderful. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So we need more United Hearts right now going on.
Oh, I believe we do, Joe.
Yeah,
I agree with you there.
Well, Stephen, I have to tell you, I am so thrilled that we were able to do this and take this time together today. And I love your work. I think that you will all love his work, so you should have it hanging on your walls, StephenRayMiller.com.
And I want to give you a shout out, Joe, for what you've been able to transform over the last 12 years as well, both in your personal and business life. And
thank you.
You're a shining light for a lot of us, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Everybody, I'm so pleased that you were able to spend this time with us. And if you have any other questions for me, don't hesitate to reach out to me or reach out to Stephen directly on his website. Stephen, do you want to share a phone number that they could also use?
Sure. 919-210-5140, StephenRayMiller.com. You'll find me.
All right. Well, everybody, listen, have a great day, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye.
Thanks, Joe.